This is Stuff You Like, you can call me Ursa, and it's April! And seeing as April contains World Book Day, which is the day I started reviewing Low these 2 years ago, I think we should go a little bit old school and review a book series. I did ask a couple of other people to come along and, you know, maybe contribute a bit, but they all seem to be busy, I guess. Never mind. Right, books. I love books. Books are my first love, really. More than I love film or more than I love television, I love books because of their unparalleled ability to put me into the shoes and the world of someone else. And my current favourite book series is October Daye by Seanan McGuire, so let's talk about Toby. Toby is a half fairy, half human, which means that she's a changeling in the parlance of this universe. And she's not human enough for human society, and she is not fair enough for the fair folk who aren't particularly fair. She solves crimes, she has crazy friends, she has crazier enemies, and she has at least a couple of complicated relationships. The series is kind of urban fantasy meets mystery meets the fairy equivalent of John McClane, which I'll come back to in a bit. Kind of the same ballpark as Harry Dresden, but without the annoying I'm a sucker for a dame in distress sort of thing that Harry has going on. And also unlike Dresden is the fact that there are scary powerful women in the October Daye books. There are many scary powerful women, but they aren't all sex bots. I mean, they're scary or powerful or mad or unspeakably ancient or sexy or some combination of the above, but we don't do the equivalent of a sort of loving slow pan across their hot bodies every time they appear on the page, and I cannot tell you how much I appreciate that. And as much as I love a good quasi-historical fantasy setting where magical girls stick it to the man, hi Jim, I really love stories where gender just isn't an issue. Why hello, Honor Harrington. Yeah, I really should get around to reviewing you one of these days. I will. Promise. 3 things you need to know about Toby. 1, she's a hero. 2, she has a persistently ridiculous life. And 3, she gets all the best lines. That's the nice thing about insanity. Evil people kill you, but crazy ones try to make you understand. Call me paranoid. I'm frequently right. Just once, I want to meet the villain in a cheerful, brightly lit room. Possibly one with kittens. She also makes my heart hurt in the best sort of way, and I'm telling you this because, you know, my ability to review the series impartially may be somewhat impaired by this, but you know what? It's never stopped me before, so let's carry on. From a thematic point of view, most of Toby's arcs are either about losing and finding, especially of children, or family, and the nature thereof, both genetic and gathered. We spend quite a lot of time with Toby on the boundaries of fairy, especially where the real world and fairy collide, which leads to some really crazy stuff. Like pixies armed with toothpicks, which may or may not have been stolen from the local Safeway. Or kings of cats, who may or may not have hung out with Shakespeare back in the day. The first book in the series is Rosemary and Rue, and it's pretty good. Like, not the best book in the series by any means, but you know, it's only the first one and you have to introduce all of the characters, so first books are never the best in the series, or if they are, you're doing it wrong. The second book is A Local Habitation, and in my opinion is the weakest book in the series. Still really entertaining, but definitely the weakest, because Toby is very much the unreliable narrator, and you spend it really desperately wanting to beat around the head with the collected works of Keats. The third book is An Artificial Night, and it is still 6 books in, one of my favourites, and it will make you cry. Yeah, because while there are hopeful endings with Toby, there aren't really unambiguously happy ones. You gotta earn your happy ending in this world, and she's got a way to go yet. The pace is gratifyingly breakneck. The characters are super likeable, like you will have a very hard time picking your favourite, and Toby is John McClane, but in a way that makes sense. I said I was coming back to that. Here we are. So in Die Hard, some terrorists have taken over this building where John McClane and his ex-wife are, and he has to defeat the terrorists and save the day and stuff like that. And he has to work for it. Like, he bleeds, and he gets burned, and he gets shot at, and his feet are all cut up. You really feel by the end of it that he has earned his victory. However, as the films progress, this kind of falls by the wayside a bit. I mean, as the character gets older, he should be less able to deal with all of the ridiculous situations that come his way, physically speaking. But no, that's not what happens, because the plot says that we must raise the stakes! Every time the stakes must be raised! Toby, we discover rapidly in the first book, is pretty weak, magically speaking, and her only quasi-superpower is a John McClane-like refusal to lie down and die when everybody really wishes that she would. But as the books progress, we do have a sort of magical powering up, as it were, so it makes sense that she's not just splattered against the wall by enemies who would have killed Book 1 Toby. That being said, Seanan McGuire is shockingly a better writer than the screenwriters of the Die Hard sequels, and so in every book the stakes are changed more often than they're raised. Which is just as well, because if the books took the Die Hard approach to storytelling, then by book 6 Toby would be rescuing every child in the world, because that would be the only place they would have left to go. Missing children are something of a theme with the series, I may have mentioned that, so if that's not your cup of tea, do avoid. Final reasons I love Toby Daye so much. 1. Everything in her world is scrupulously researched and meticulously thought out. This is pretty characteristic of Seanan McGuire. See also her Encrypted series about a family of monster zoologists / monster hunters, and her not-so-secret alter ego Mira Grant, who wrote the Newsflash trilogy, which is kick-ass post-apocalyptic zombie fiction with bloggers. The worlds are beautiful and clever and generally just glorious sandpits of joy in which I will happily wallow. The second thing, nothing will take you by surprise if you're paying attention. You can see the shape of the story, you can see how it all might turn out, and you can see the breadcrumbs that McGuire is laying, even if Toby can't see them because, as previously mentioned, she's just a slightly unreliable narrator. And that's a feature, not a bug. Nothing will blindside you, and if it does, you can go back, reread, and then go, oh, I see what you were doing there. Clever! But the third and main reason that I keep reading Toby Daye is Toby herself. Because as much as I love the supporting characters, and they are fabulous, Toby is my favourite. Ah, Toby. Doña Quixote, tilting at windmills, hopeless causes a specialty, near-death experiences a weekly occurrence. So I conclude my 2nd anniversary show simply with try Rosemary and Rue. You never know. You might just love it. Next time, and I said, what about Breakfast at Tiffany's? She said, I think I remember the film, and yes, I recall, I think we both kind of liked it. And I said, well, that's what we'll review.